everyone. I want to thank you for taking a moment to join us in the Word. Today we're going to be talking about relationships, and we're going to start out in the book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 3. The prophet Amos in the Old Testament gives us some instruction there in dealing with relationships. Every one of us have relationships, whether that's in our home, at our work, or in the community that we live. Every one of us are impacted by relationships all around us. And I believe today, as we look at the Word of God in our moment together, that we will find some keys that give us victory to have stronger relationships. So the book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 3, the prophet says, "Can two walk together except they be agreed?" The prophet Amos is telling us that in order to have successful relationships, there's going to be some work involved. So the first thing, if we're going to have strong and productive relationships, is that we must have communication. We must be able to talk together to work things out. Heard a story about a man that was on a walk down his street, and as he was moving his way down the sidewalk, he noticed that a next door neighbor was struggling with a washing machine in the doorway of his house. So being a good neighbor, he ran up and he began to help the man. But the two, as they wrestled and labored together, after about 15 minutes, they took a break. Wiping sweat from their face, the man that was on the inside of the house said, "I don't think we'll ever get this washing machine outside." The man that was on the outside said, "You mean you're trying to get it out? I've been trying to push it in." You see, their lack of communication was causing them to be unproductive. If we take a moment and just think about the relationships in our life, whether that's a marriage, a relationship with our children, that relationship with our coworkers, our next door neighbors, in our community, sometimes it's the lack of communication that causes us to be unproductive. So I want to encourage you, the first step to have a successful relationship is that we must be able to communicate. Secondly, there has to be teamwork involved. When I think about teamwork, my mind goes to a three-legged race. You have two individuals that become one when their leg is bound, and they must be willing to work together in order to accomplish the task. If we're going to work together as a team, then sometimes that means there's going to have to be sacrifice. Sometimes it means there's going to have to be compromise. Things that we necessarily wanted, we're going to have to release those for the betterment of all those involved. We must be able to communicate, but we must also have teamwork. As a boy growing up, my favorite basketball team, like many, was the Chicago Bulls. It was during that era that Michael Jordan played. And as good of a player as Michael Jordan was, he never won a championship by himself. As a matter of fact, it was only when the Chicago Bulls put a group, a supporting cast around Michael Jordan, that the Bulls were able to become a dynasty and win 6 NBA championships. It was only as Michael Jordan, as good as he was, got Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant, Bill Cartwright, John Paxson, all those others that were put around him, that they became a dynasty. If we're going to have strong relationships, then we must be willing to work together as a team. The third thing I want to give you today in our time together is that if we're going to have strong relationships, then we must demonstrate patience. How many times in our life has somebody had to be patient with us when we were learning something new? Maybe that was when we were learning to drive. Whoever that individual was that was in that passenger seat had to show patience to allow us to learn how to drive. Maybe learning a new trade, a new skill, maybe learning in education. Somebody demonstrated patience towards us. I want to encourage you today, if we're going to have strong and productive relationships, that we must be able to show that same patience and extend that to those that are around us. And I believe that if you and I will learn to communicate, if we'll learn to be a team player and have teamwork, if we'll learn to demonstrate patience, that our relationships will naturally begin to grow stronger and stronger and stronger, and they will be productive for all those involved in that relationship. Amos again said, "How can two walk together unless they be in agreement?" I hope this has been encouraging to you today in our time, in a moment in the Word. As always, I pray that you have a great day. We love you. God bless.